Dating children.
What did you say, nigga?
And just like that, this video can't be monetized, is age restricted, and has appalled someone. Obviously, child abuse is in bad taste. It's just not a productive way to spend your Wednesday evening. You could be doing something fun like watching reruns of NCIS or rationally disciplining your kids. But what if this was your career? Spanking children, not even your own, strangers' children, and sometimes without consent.
What are you doing to our Carlos? Carlos?
Sometimes just by breaking into someone's home to get the job done. Sometimes even attacking the wrong person.
Carlos?
And you're not doing this for anything crazy like bringing a weapon to school, cursing at your parents, or failing 6th grade English. Nope. It's for infringes like not washing the dishes, forgetting to take the trash out, forgetting to return library books, and horrible stuff like that. Well, if this sounds like a job you'd be interested in, click this button. Go ahead, click it. It won't bite. Caught ya. Now everybody who clicked that will have the police show up at your door waiting to spank you instead. Hello, my name is Witty G, and I talk about odd, obscure, and nostalgic cartoons on the internet, attempting to find out what made them special to begin with. And the animated series we'll be talking about today is Codename Kids Next Door, more specifically the villain Count Spankulot. The show was created by Tom Warburton, and the team most of us are familiar with were originally created to be the villains in a show also created by Tom Warburton, titled Kenny and the Chimp. While the original idea never got any real buzz, the network loved the idea of the Kids Next Door. That's what it was called at first until it was changed to Codename Kids Next Door, since there was another show with a similar title being aired as well. In 2001, as part of a cartoon film festival event held by Cartoon Network known as The Big Pick, in which the best received cartoon out of those shown would be picked up as a full series, Codename Kids Next Door won, setting it up for future movies, video games, action figures, and holiday specials. Warburton was rolling in the dough, but rest in peace to Kenny and the Chimp. The show is probably one of the most clever kids TV programs I've ever seen on the network. The concept of a secret organization of children that fights for child's rights using gadgets made of everyday items in the home against adults and teenagers alike is so rad. It especially seems feasible to the imaginative mind of children watching it, in the same way Toy Story has this connection to the audience, tickling their imagination and making them think, wait, is my stuffed animal alive? The cartoon portrayed a secret group that has a space station, massive vehicles, connections all over the world, and a gallery of superpowered villains. It glamorized being a child, and being in on this secret that only kids knew about. Made it seem like there was a slither of a chance that I'd be inducted into this secret society, or how I'd never remember any of it after my 13th birthday when I would be decommissioned.
So, do you know why we brought you here?
Well, it's something about when I was a child, right?
Exactly. When you were younger, you were part of a secret organization that fought for kids' rights. But after you turned 13, you and your teammates had all memories of that time erased in a process called decommissioning.
Oh, I remember now.
Luckily, they recorded a bunch of these secret agents and put them on a TV channel for all to see. Not so secretive now. Well, we aren't here to discuss all the episodes of the show, or even the main characters. We're here to discuss Count Spankulot. Not to be confused with Count Spankulot. They didn't go with that name because of the internet and its habits. However, this name doesn't make it much better. We're gonna go through some of the most well-known appearances of the villain, documenting his bombastic rise and introduction, the dramatic descent into madness, and the fall of an icon. Let's start with his first appearance in episode 2 of season 1. first time we're ever introduced to Count Spankulot is in episode 2B, Operation Cannon, when Nigel Uno, aka Number 1, has to call out early cause he's going to a kiddie amusement park. So instead, he leaves his friends to fend for themselves, and the moment he leaves, all hell breaks loose. A variety of villains show up and harass the agents while Nigel deals with suffering of his own.
Who's a happy boy? 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 Who's a happy boy?
There's a whole clam cannon thing too that's going on, but that's not quite the focus.
I've accomplished what no other leader has ever dreamed of doing! The perfect defense system! The ultimate clam cannon! I hereby declare myself permanent team leader forever! My leadership will inspire generations of kids next door. That Number 1 ain't so hot. Where's his clam cannon? I don't see his clam cannon.
The first of these villains to break in is Count Spankulot, who breaks through this steel door and begins attacking all the children in here for whatever reason. I don't think it's cause they're from the Kids Next Door organization, or cause they gave some adult a concussion in a fight. It's probably just because they're children.
Those who do not pay their library fines shall incur the stingy wrath of Count Spankulot.
Oh, okay. Wait, it's library fines. This is because of library fines. This is justified. Then he leaves. He just like skedaddles after this.
There, all paid up.
And this little incident right here is the catalyst for Count Spankulot's downfall. The next time we see him is in episode 2A of season 2, Operation Sore Posteriors Annoy Naughty Kids. Here we get a better idea of why the Count does this and what his goal is.
I arrive like a shadow in the night, the hunter who preys upon wrongdoers. My victims beg for mercy and offer to make deals. They try to run, but there is nowhere to run, and there is nowhere to hide. For those I hunt, I have but one thing. A good spanking! They call me Count Spankulot, the bounty hunter of bottoms. I administer spankings to those naughty children that deserve them. Perhaps they've toilet papered someone's house. Or kept a library book a little too long. Then I am summoned to apply my powerful palm to their posterior.
That's when he shows up to this house. After doing his usual breaking and entering routine, he begins the punishment, but something's off. That's when the kids' parents burst in, absolutely disgusted and flabbergasted by what they're seeing. A random 40-year-old man in a vampire costume beating the shit out of their kid in their house.
What are you doing to our Carlos?
Carlos?
For nothing more than playing Ding Dong Dixie too many times.
I was to seek out a boy named Stanley Stemsky. He had rung doorbells and ran just one too many times.
This show is wild, but turns out, that's the wrong kid. He showed up to the wrong address, assaulted the wrong perp, and traumatized the family.
Carlos?
Can you imagine if our law enforcement or investigation agencies made this kind of mistake and drastically endangered the lives of common citizens? That'd be really bad. So yeah, for this screw up, the Count is sent to court, being the only K&D villain ever to serve time or go to court for the crimes he's committed in the show, which is still more of a consequence than what law enforcement gets when they make mistakes like this. The judge throws the book at him, sending the Count to jail, where he has a long time to think about what got him into this situation.
I am sorry. I would never, ever give an unwarranted spank. No innocent bottom should ever fear my powerful...
And there, he has an epiphany. After such a horrifying mistake, the Count wants to change himself and become a better person. He wants to spank for good, not for evil. Okay, wait, that sounded wrong. Anyway, the Sector 7 members of the Kids Next Door get into a confrontation with Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib right outside the county jail. Get it? County? Count? The Count steps in and attacks the adults, demonstrating his allegiance to the Kid Freedom cause. Bro uses the Force in everything.
I will not allow you fiends to bring harm to these innocent children! And now, vile scoundrels, your heinies belong to me!
With no place left to go to learn how to be on the right side of good and evil, Sector 7 reluctantly lets him join. Well, after they're threatened, of course.
Oh, forget it! Give me a
The Count joins them in hopes this experience will rehabilitate and convince him to permanently fight on the side of children. This goes poorly. Dude only knows how to handle situations in one way: brute force. There's also the fact that they're children living with a grown man with a mental disorder that causes him to dress up as a vampire and spank kids who have committed the smallest infraction. Also, he's annoying. There's this moment too where we see him try to control the urge to smack children by stealing number 3's rainbow monkey stuffed animal and smacking that instead. Turns out, she doesn't like being stolen from and having her stuffed animals abused. Who would have guessed? P.S. If you're ever in a situation where you can't control the urge to spank, you shouldn't use your friend's stuffed animals either. They won't like that. Tired of living with this discount Count Dracula, the group formulates a plan. They send the Count on an espionage mission to stop Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib. Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. There's a character with Wink in their name and the character with Spank in their name in the same episode. Also, these two guys, some of the weirdest K&D villains in the show. Most villains deal with some aspect of childhood and the challenges that aspect or character has on a child's life. The strictness, disciplinary action, and fiery rage of father, Captain Stickybeard's love of candy and sugary addiction, the Toiletnator's ability to clog up toilets more than a toddler just getting used to toilet paper, common cold and how kids are always sick and constantly spreading germs, Mushi Sanban and the terrible fate you encounter when you upset an overly intelligent kindergartner. All of these characters make some sort of sense. And then there's these two. Anyway, Count goes in and gives some old-fashioned payback, but is surprised and aghast to find out that this isn't where Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib live. He hasn't been spanking them. No, the person who he managed to attack is the judge who threw the book at him and his wife.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no, to the no, no, hell to the no, no.
Your attorney won't be able to get you out of this one.
Judge, how dare you come into my house and spank me and my wife?
Oh, my bottom. I can't feel my bottom.
Back to court he goes. This time, he's going to the clinker, and the gloating Codename Kids Next Door team is hankering to hear how extreme the sentence will be.
I hereby sentence the defendant to 11 trillion years with no chance of parole ever, ever!
And while the Count passes by, he has this awkwardly flirtatious exchange with the judge's wife. Huh? Huh? And you know, that went right over my head as a kid. Like, I never even realized that. And yeah, that's a kinky yikes from me.
Don't kink shame me!
But the other interaction he has is with the Sector 7 team, as number 3 accidentally reveals this was the plan of the team all along.
Said that we sent Count Spankulot to the judge's house on on purpose so we could get rid of him. And just like when we tricked him into spanking that kid Carlos before.
That part when they say, can you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, is for the person on the stand, not the children on the spectator benches. Pissed that he was betrayed, the Count retaliates using his vampiric powers and beats those children right in the middle of court. In front of the bailiff, in front of his kinky flirt, in front of the stenographer, he has no shame. Also, does she have to record the screams of pain, or is that like out of her job description? And hey, for those of you out there who are worried that this will get the Count more time in the terrible prison industrial complex system, don't bother yourself with that. This is fine. They won't charge him. It's only wrong when it's the wrong kid.
Carlos?
I love the justice system. When it works, it works. This episode is a horror movie. Episode 9B of Season 3, Operation Lurking Otherworldly Childhood Calamity, delivers ouchies when naughty. We open up with number 1 saying the treehouse needs to be put on lockdown. While it's being sealed up, number 1 crash lands inside of the treehouse with barely a few moments to spare. He survived the landing, but is not in the best conditions. He's in a coma. However, he has no scratches, which leaves the team perplexed. Number 5 takes charge and scans for any other organisms inside the treehouse that shouldn't be here, while number 2 stays with Nigel and number 4 checks on number 3. Somehow, Kooky stayed asleep all this time, despite the blaring alarms, the fire, and the sound of metal doors locking you in. Number 3 was dreaming about a rainbow monkey before she woke up, and when she does come to, she sees the same one she was dreaming of sitting in front of her. She goes to examine it and finds something strange with the stuffed animal. While checking it out, a hand grabs her and proceeds to do what we all knew this would end up being.
Did you go for a jog? You don't have to lose weight for me, silly. I'll always... What happened to your...
Side note, that rainbow monkey is the same one the Count attacked when he lived at the treehouse. Number 4 arrives and tries to get her to calm down and sit down, but neither is an option with the kind of pain she's in right now. Clearly, Count Spankulot broke out of jail, broke into the treehouse, and is getting revenge on the team for their prank that made him a permanent resident of the incarcerated population.
But I thought he was locked up in jail!
Looks like he's locked in here with us now.
Number 4 doesn't want to be trapped inside with this monster, and wants the lockdown lifted because...
I'm too young to be spanked!
Yeah, this kid is definitely too young. You should be using psychological torture on a kid his age, not physical abuse. But number 5 isn't budging and says...
Can't be done. Once you're locked down, you're locked up until sunrise.
So, they're stuck. Until sunrise, or until the Count has gotten the revenge he wants. Whichever comes first. They race to return to Nigel and find number 2 is injured in the hallway, presumably from the spanking of a lifetime. I hate how many times I've said spank in this video. Apparently he left for a snack and got snuck, got caught lagging and paid the consequences. Me and number 5 feel the same.
Well, it serves you right for leaving your post.
When they arrive at number 1's side, chaos intensifies. Everybody's stressing, especially number 4, who knows his time is coming and can't bear the idea of it. Number 5 manages to wrangle them together and sets out on her own to put this menace down once and for all. She heads into the dark abyss of the lockdown headquarters. Meanwhile, the trio is still freaking out with the impending doom of Spankulot looming over them.
I don't know who she's trying to fool. It's only a matter of time before the Count spanks the crud out of me. I gotta get out of this treehouse now!
Wally desperately wants them to break lockdown protocol, but there's no way around it. Not even an emergency exit, but there is a quadruple failsafe code. This will override any command in the treehouse, but it's not authorized to be used. Number 5 knows it, but can't use it. Like trigonometry for anyone who doesn't have a career in math. You know it, but you can't use it. Wally doesn't care about the bureaucracy of it all and plans to leave without permission to seek out number 5, disobeying orders. But a sluggish number 1 commands him to listen to the previous orders and stay here, instead offering to search for her himself. In the dark abyss of the quiet headquarters, Number 5 suspects her scanner to be on the fritz, as it's picking up 3 distinct intruders instead of the 1.
Now it says there are 3 intruders in the treehouse. Stupid piece of junk.
Dire times lead to dire decisions, and this is one of those times. Number 5 contemplates using the code and is even more convinced when hearing the scream of Wally from down the hall. This train of thought is quickly halted when Number 1 shows up.
Number 1! Oh man, am I glad to see you!
And that's when he reveals he was the intruder, and that he's a spank-happy vampire.
A spank-happy vampire!
Don't ask me why it's called that, ask the creators and the wiki. Turns out Nigel isn't the only one that's a vampire now. All of the team is. Everyone that got spanked, even the stuffed animals, are vampires now. And it's Number 5's turn to join them.
You have been bad and must be punished.
Isn't that right, big bottom vampire monkey?
And right before they can corrupt her too, she says it's morning and therefore it's morning.
Because tonight is over.
And opens the metallic blinds to introduce the vampires to one of her oldest friends, Sunlight. We pan over to the jailhouse where Spankulot is still locked up and is talking to a few jailmates about wanting to join their crew and bragging about his corruption of the Sector 7 cadets. Turns out, when Nigel visited to, I don't know, I assume gloat about his freedom to count Spankulot, the guy managed to get Nigel, spank him without his glove on, therefore transferring some of his powers to Nigel and hypnotizing him, causing Number 1 to do the same to everyone in the treehouse, ruining their existence and turning them into vampiric freaks for the rest of their lives.
For sending me to this jail, I used my evil hypnotic powers to lure Number 1 here, where I administered the hand of justice to his backside.
Leave in the comments which kind of vampire you'd like to be. The suck your blood type of vampire or the spank your ass type of vampire. So many great and mildly erotic decisions. The Count also reveals the only way to remove this curse is to spank the person who spanked you. However, he made the mistake of not thoroughly vetting the gang he was trying to join, and they were actually the agents in disguise, waiting patiently to get their revenge on the person who got their revenge on them for the thing they did to get revenge on that person for moving in with them. It's just a whole circle of payback. This kind of cycle is what leads to deep wounds between societies that differ so much from each other. If they keep going like this, young vampires and old vampires will never get along. So I found these episodes so insane and ridiculous, I had to introduce them to another creator to get their opinion as well. Introducing me to Jupiter Sue, a content creator who makes slice of life content, funny TikToks, and has some insightful thoughts about 2000s cartoons. Here's a little bit from our conversation. So I wanted to know, do you think that it's right to hit children?
I do not think it's right to hit children.
Hot take.
Very controversial, I know. I don't think that it's right. I think that it installs the wrong impression, so no.
How about beating children that aren't your own? Do you think that will be kind of more reasonable?
No. I don't think you should beat a child, especially if they're not yours.
Well,
I do see how you would beat your own child. I mean, I don't see it, but you know, you get it. Like, I see that, but I think it's even more outrageous to beat a child that didn't come from me, basically.
I don't know who my favorite would be. I think I do have a soft spot for Count Spankulot now, even though he's a bit of a crazy man.
He's a pervert. Call him what he is.
See, now I can't like him. Now I'm gonna get canceled if I like him.
Perverted ways.
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you. I can like a guy who has perverted ways, but a pervert, that's my line.
We have standards around here.
So after being reintroduced to this guy, do you think he might be the darkest villain in the series? Or if not that, the scariest?
I think he's the scariest. Like, just seeing the freaking fear that he put into these children's eyes, like, they don't even want to tell this man no. And also, spankings, Yeah, I'm kind of fearful. I think a lot of childhood trauma. I think whoever created the show took like their own worst fears as a kid and kind of manifest and kind of just put it in the show. I think he's scared of vampires and getting spanked, but to combine the two, I don't know. To combine the two is kind of crazy. Count Spankulot, and then like the name also, like, okay. Ooh.
Yikes. Just to make sure that we are all on the same page, do ass whoopings scare you?
Yes, what the fuck? Yes.
Okay.
Bro, were you the type of bro? No, cause I grew up in the type of family where like anything could be used to whoop your ass. So like I feel like a vampire spanking people, if that was an option in the real world, I definitely think my family would have took it. So I feel for the Codename Kids Next Door kids.
Wow. And
Are
clearly
you?
that's it. Me?
How do you feel?
This is it. I'm asking you questions to get to know your opinions. Maybe there's a little vampire trauma. Maybe I don't want to get into it.
Well, honestly, it made me just think about how powerful he is. The fact that he's able to just take on these two grown men, like, and also the fact that he was able to spank the two grown men was just like, why are y'all allowing that? I guess
it's two of y'all.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Count Spankulot, again, he's hitting that rank where it's like, oh yeah, he is the scariest person.
Right.
I'm personally, I'm not fighting a man who's trying to spank. I'm not. Personally,
are you gonna wait your turn though? Like if you and your homie, you just out and there's a man who attacks you and you're beating your homie, are you just gonna wait your turn and be like, I'm gonna just wait till he's done with him and get me?
No.
And that's what these dudes did.
But do I just let my friend get that whooping?
You might just have to.
That's like watching your cousin get whooping as a kid, knowing you're up next.
Wow. Unlocked memory.
I don't think I'm waiting around.
Yeah, you just gotta be like, hey bro, I appreciate your service. I gotta bounce.
It's been real.
Also, what do you think about those two characters? Their names are Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib. They are, yeah, very interesting names.
Honestly, growing up, I couldn't tell if they were brothers or if they were like lovers. Because they've got a little vibe going on. And it's also like, it's not like they were called Mr. and they had the same last name. They had two different names. So like, I don't know. It's giving their I like that.
Codename Kids Next Door goes and tricks the Count into spanking someone who looks like the villains we had just mentioned. Did that surprise you at all?
Yes, because the whole episode is that you got caught spanking the wrong kid. You didn't double check with them. You went in. Come to find out, it's the fucking judge and his wife.
And his wife
at that, because let's not forget she winks at him. She's trying to wait for him to get out of jail.
That's
and I'm just like, bro, I don't know. It's just like, again, who gives this man this list? And it's even like, even if the Codename Kids Next Door told you, oh, this is, what's their name, Mr.
Wink and Mr. Fib.
Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib.
The
like,
homies.
I don't know. You didn't double check, and it's just like, always double check, bro. First of all, he should be on probation if we're being honest. Like, so young. Who moves in with a group of kids right after they get out of prison?
So you brought up two really good points. One, that he's getting a list from someone, right? Like, who is that? Is it the government? Is he giving this? Like,
imagine him having some type of fucking power like that, though. But it's, I don't know, just from how the episode begun, it's obvious that they're like aware of what this man is doing. It's legal as long as he doesn't whoop the wrong kid.
Right.
No, we already say he's breaking and entering. That's some type of assault. You're still a grown man beating a child, and grown. We're not talking like 20. We're talking like 2,000 years probably. And I just want to know, like, why is this okay? And when was it implemented that he would be the source of justice for kids? and what constitutes as something bad. Because like you said, fucking what, not doing your homework is already an ass whooping. What if I didn't know the answers?
I was sick that day. I didn't know. Please. Like,
I
oh
didn't
my
mean to miss
God.
school. We were in Bora Bora. Truly said you didn't show up. Ass whooping.
Which also makes me wonder how anyone else is getting this information. Are the parents like being like, hey, judge, my kid isn't like doing their fucking math homework. I need you to send in the count. Like, if you are the parent doing that, I think they need an ass whooping.
Damn, just setting your kid up. Just imagine like setting your kid up for that. No, you would have to have the guts to hit me. I don't care.
Square up. What's up?
Like,
do you think that a guy like this is suffering from mental illness in any capacity?
yes, I am wanting to bring fucking harm to a child is mentally ill. I think he needs help. I don't think he should have been put in prison. He should have been put in fucking an insane asylum so they can fucking treat him for whatever he's suffering from. But at the same time, as a nurse, I wouldn't want to work with a vampire. So I get it. But we should at least put him in a box at the bottom of the ocean. Ooh, this one, I like how it was scary. I like the little thrills it was giving me. I think that it's weird that I feel like, well, from my memory, I feel like this is the only time where his power is brought up, where he can spank people and have it basically like transfer them into being a vampire. And again, like you said, this man can crush a whole machine with his hand. I think he has the potential to be the most powerful villain. And if I was him, I would create an army with that power. So I feel like he's missing his target audience. You're sitting here creating kids that spank other kids when you could be creating an army of spankers.
An army of spankers is quite possibly the funniest phrase I've ever heard.
Well, what else am I supposed to call them? Not to think on like a bigger idea, he could also take those people and separate his list. Now he's making money off of it.
You've like turned this into a whole like financial operation, like entrepreneur. Do you think it was petty to get revenge on the Codename Kids Next Door by infecting them with this like power of an ass whooping vampire, or was he in the right for doing this?
I feel like he was justified, and I feel for him. I would feel satisfied knowing that I set Nigel off to fuck the rest of them up, because I'm still sitting in this jail cell. I stand with him. You know what? I was definitely a Count Spankulot hater at first, but I think I'm on his side. Wow.
That's a great clip. I'm glad I have that recorded. We can start a petition. Free Count Spankulot. Free the spank.
I just think it should be a fair round between him and the Codename Kids Next Door.
Right, just 1v1, no powers, just hands.
And whoever come out.
Who'd win?
Hogan coming up.
He was probably gonna be. I think number 4 is gonna be the one that he'll have to like get past, like in a straight 1v1. It's gonna be number 4. You do not want to mess with Australians, bro. You do not want to do that. They learn how to fight from kangaroos. You know what I'm saying? Like they.
And my whole thing is like, what is Count Spankulot eating?
The same thing he beaten, I guess, but not children wise.
We got a whole nother case on our hands.
Would you watch a Count Spankulot spin-off series starring him?
No, I don't. I don't think he should get more screen time than he already did.
4 episodes, like. We're sorely missing this man. He should have had at least 16.
He should have 16 seconds on the fucking camera. I think the whole concept would have installed a whole new generation of kids who think that it would be acceptable to hit their kids. Like, at worst come to worst, I just feel like that's the effect it would have on a lot of kids. Like, oh no, spanking my kid is fine. Growing up, doing that, and just continuing the cycle.
Yeah.
Not me. Oh, these are supposed to be fun questions.
Funny and interesting.
My fault.
So yeah, I wasn't the only one who found this whole thing kind of wacky. And if you're interested in seeing more from this creator, you can follow her here and there. And links are in the description, as well as links to my music and all my other socials. Let's wrap this up. That was a bit of the story of Count Spankulot. He has one more interesting appearance in the series and a few smaller ones, but that's essentially his whole arc. We saw his bombastic rise, his dramatic descent, and his iconic fall from herohood.
Looks like you
could use a good spanking!
We got to know why he does this, why he's not good at this, and what happens when he gets caught doing the right thing to the wrong person.
I sentence the defendant to 11 trillion years with no chance of parole ever!
Spankulot is a weird villain, especially in a modern world where physical discipline is taboo and even a strict no-no in some circles. The early 2000s was a wild place.
You're using eye crust
as a topping for my world-famous crumble surprise!
So that means I've been eating.
For example, I come from a time when that was the norm, and in some cultures, that's just how you raise your child. I personally feel like there's a nice medium between ass whoopings and sticking your child in front of an iPad for 8 hours, but what do I know? And who cares about my opinion? Well, let's consult another cartoon. You shouldn't take all your advice from cartoons, guys. A British animated program that does a great job of describing what happens when you handle discipline like this.
And as for you, corporal punishment is not an intelligent or sensitive way to deal with a child who is clearly suffering from sugar-related hyperactivity. You only teach the child that violence is a way to resolve conflicts.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say.
For God's sake, everybody's an expert. Would you please let me do my job?
Would the duty manager please report to aisle 23?
Thank you. Now, this is probably the result of a deep-seated resentment stemming from a childhood of neglect and jealousy. You were probably smacked as a child, and I'd wager that you're a middle child as well, aren't you?
Hey? You're absolutely right. My God, what have I been doing?
This is the address of a very good family therapist. If you show him your till receipt, you'll get a discount of 10p for every pound you spent in the store.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it just teaches them to solve problems with their fists and weapons instead of using their words. Something that becomes increasingly problematic the older they get and the more liberal they become with that sort of ideology. Something Jupiter also pointed out. Spankulot deserves to be in jail, and he also needs a therapist so he can work out whatever childhood trauma brought him to becoming this.
You were probably smacked as a child, and I'd wager that you're a middle child as well.
Because you don't dress up as an animal and attack strangers without a little mental scarring. Ask Batman. But there's something really interesting about this whole anti-hero status. He often helps the K&D as much as he hurts them, and we can clearly see he thinks he's doing all this for a good cause. We even see him come to terms with the fact that his great power has great responsibilities when he finds out he attacked the wrong child. Spankulot's goal is to keep kids disciplined and on the street and narrow. And in a way, he kind of mirrors the positive mindset of the parents that use this technique to discipline their children. Because that's all they're usually trying to do, protect their children and keep them from making worse decisions in the future. However, not realizing the impact of growing up where that is the norm is a different type of harm that can still lead to an end result of bad decision making. And the Count's relationship with the Codename Kids Next Door also mirrors the impact a parent can have on a child when they are raised in this way. Let's break it down.
Break it down for me.
The Count attacks the kids randomly one day, already instilling fear and anxiousness in them with his presence. Then, he tries to befriend those same children after he gets caught doing this crazy behavior to a kid who didn't deserve it. A mistake that lands him in jail for at least a few months. Sector 7 hates him around but feels threatened to keep him, due to that already instilled fear and anxiousness from their first encounter and the many other off-screen ones. And when they're tired of him being around, they appeal to the only thing that scares adults. The law. They trick him into assaulting the wrong people, ending in him getting arrested and sentenced to jail again, for their own protection and comfort. And during this time of incarceration, he manages to corrupt one of the members of Sector 7, turning them into a monster just like him, only for that curse to be broken by fixing the problem at its source. Especially in that last segment. It's easy to decipher the message this show is communicating. If you beat your kids for little shit normal children do, you run the risk of them turning into monsters and attacking people who don't even deserve it, even their friends. Because they were taught that the only way to instill order, control a situation, or handle stress was through violence. We even see Count Spankulot deal with this inability to solve problems in other ways throughout the story. In the montage, we see him struggle to find solutions outside of just smacking it. And I genuinely think he doesn't know how to solve problems without doing that. Just like in the show, the way to handle a situation where you were raised in this kind of environment is to take it back to the source. And that doesn't mean beat up the adults that beat you, but you gotta confront and acknowledge those feelings of pain emotionally and physically that were placed on you and realize it wasn't your fault. You weren't the adult in the situation. It is the crazy vampire who has an obsession with spanking that is to blame. And only after acknowledging that and working through it do you have a real shot of moving past that trauma and avoiding turning into that monster. Despite his cartoonish appearance, Count Spankulot might be one of the darkest villains in this series. At least in terms of these episodes. And you know what? They still hold up super well today. They're so clever and even horrific given the circumstances. I like the tonal shift in Operation Lockdown and the use of tension to keep the audience engaged. The dark colors in this episode accentuate anxiety, the claustrophobia, and the looming danger of the environment and circumstances. The twist with Nigel being the vampire was pretty good and I didn't see it coming. Would have been cool to see more foreshadowing with this reveal though, so that the audience could kind of piece it together as well. Perhaps a glove on Nigel's person when he returns back to the treehouse before lockdown, maybe mentioning that he had visited the jail before returning, or even mentioning that Nigel was attacked by the Count somewhat recently. And I think subterfuge and misdirection were used more effectively in Operation Spank. The foreshadowing of the silhouette similarities between the judge and Mr. Phibb was super discreet and was a great twist. That definitely wasn't expected.
Judge, how dare you come into my house and spike me and my wife?
Oh, my bottom. I can't feel my bottom.
I thought it also worked to mirror how the Count ended up in jail the first time. Also just love watching episodes where the villains have to work with the heroes and seeing the discomfort there. I think this episode handled that trope well and explored the most interesting aspect of that story. Who and what is Count Spankulot instead of prioritizing how the members of the sector felt about him. Like I said a little earlier, there's a little more to Count Spankulot's story, and if you're interested in me discussing those ones, leave a comment and leave a like. And if you have any other cartoons you'd like me to check out, let me know in the comments. And remember, be happy, be healthy, and be kind to someone. I've been Witty G, and I'll see you later.